For as long as we can remember, the fashion industry has been defined by its supermodels, these iconic human faces that literally shape the trends we follow. But what if the next household name, the next big face in fashion, isn't human at all? Today we're going to dive into how AI-generated models are going from being a cool tech curiosity to a central piece of a brand's entire strategy.
Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this question, it's becoming a very real business decision for brands all over the world. This is the core promise of an AI model, a perfect, completely tireless brand ambassador that's ready to go 24/7. And believe me, it is completely reshaping how fashion gets made and sold.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we need to be clear on what we mean by an AI model. We're not just talking about some random algorithm spitting out images. No, this is about creating a digital persona. Think of it like you're casting a character for a movie. Except this character exists only in pixels. They have a consistent look, a backstory, maybe even a unique personality, all of it tailored to perfectly fit a brand's vibe. Okay, so these new digital faces are popping up everywhere, but how are brands actually using them? Let's break down some of the main ways they're being put to work.
And it's incredibly versatile. For e-commerce, you could show one single jacket on a dozen different body types without ever having to do a reshoot. For social media, it's a never-ending fire hose of fresh content. But here's where it gets really interesting: the world building. Brands are creating entire fictional universes around these characters, and behind the scenes, they're using them to test out wild new creative ideas before they spend a single penny on an actual physical photo shoot.
So look, this isn't just happening because it's a cool new toy. It's happening because it makes serious business sense. There are some really powerful, practical reasons why we're seeing this massive explosion in AI models right now. And this slide just illustrates the difference so perfectly. A traditional photo shoot is this huge logistical beast, right? It involves weeks of planning, travel, huge crews of people. An AI shoot, once you have that digital persona ready, just collapses that entire process. It completely shifts from physical logistics to pure creative brainstorming. What used to take weeks now literally takes minutes. These four things right here are the engine driving this whole boom. The speed is an absolute game changer. For the fast pace of social media, the cost savings are huge. Yeah, there's an upfront cost, but after that, creating new stuff is incredibly cheap. Plus, brands get total, infinite creative control, and their model is ready for a shoot in any location, at any time, for any market, anywhere in the world.
And let's just talk about that creative control for a second. Just imagine trying to actually shoot a fashion campaign on Mars, or in some surreal underwater city. The budget would be absolutely astronomical. With AI, those impossible ideas are just a few text prompts away. It lets brands build these truly unique visual worlds that were just never, ever financially possible before. Of course, with any major technological shift like this, there's always a huge question that comes with it, one that really affects the livelihoods and the identities of thousands of people in the industry.
This is it. This is the question that's on everybody's mind. Are we watching the end of the human model as we know it? And it's a totally valid concern. But the answer that's starting to emerge is actually a lot more nuanced than a simple yes or no. So the thinking here isn't that one is just going to wipe out the other. Instead, the industry seems to be moving toward what's being called a hybrid ecosystem. The idea is that AI models and human models are actually going to work together. AI can handle all the high-volume, super scalable content, while humans provide that one thing AI just can't replicate. So how does this hybrid model actually work in practice? Well, for starters, real people often provide the inspiration for these digital personas. And those uniquely human moments, the electricity of a live runway show, the realness of an interview, those are still absolutely essential. We're even starting to see campaigns where human and AI models are co-starring, telling these richer stories about where technology and fashion meet. Now, with all this new power comes a huge amount of responsibility. We just can't have a conversation about AI models without talking about the ethics of how they're made and how they're used.
And this technology really touches on some very sensitive issues. How do we make sure we're representing everyone? What happens when an AI looks a little too much like a real person? And what kind of impact will these perfect pixel-generated bodies have on our own body image? These are not small questions, and they need answers.
So, to navigate all this, a pretty clear ethical framework is starting to emerge. Rule number 1, brands have to be totally transparent when an image is made with AI. 2, they have a duty to use this tool to represent diverse skin tones, body types, and ages. 3, they absolutely cannot copy a real person's likeness without their explicit consent. And finally, number 4, they need to be careful to frame these models as creative tools, not as some new, unattainable standard for human bodies.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The potential is there for AI to totally break down these narrow, traditional beauty standards and show us a much wider, more inclusive vision of what beauty can be. But the choice of whether to actually do that, well, that lies with the people using the technology.
So where does this all go from here? If this is the present, what does the future of fashion's relationship with AI even look like? Well, the next wave is already building, and it's going to go way beyond just static images. As incredible as these AI photos are, you have to remember, we are still at the very, very early stages. We're on the edge of a much more dynamic, much more interactive era for these digital personas.
First up is video. Pretty soon, these models won't just be posing in still photos. Oh no, they'll be moving, they'll be speaking, they'll be starring in short-form video content for platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and it'll all be generated by AI.
And then it gets even more interesting. Imagine AI personas that can actually respond to you in real time. They could act as virtual stylists or brand ambassadors that you can literally chat with to get personalized recommendations and content. And on an even bigger scale, start thinking about entire digital fashion shows and virtual events. These could feature a mix of AI and human models, creating these incredible, immersive experiences that aren't tied down by the laws of physics or the limits of a physical building. Which brings us to our final, big question. This technology can be an unbelievably powerful tool to unlock creativity and expand representation in ways we've never seen before. But it also carries the risk of creating a new, impossibly perfect standard that could be really damaging for all of us. The answer to which path we go down? Well, that's going to be determined by the choices that we all make as this brand new chapter in fashion unfolds.